from the couch. So look forward to having everybody here. Welcome Conversations from the Couch, where we are built up and encouraged to take action in life, right? To look and examine our relationships and implement the things that will actually change our lives. So it's all about taking action. And I'm glad that you're here. My oh my, Lewis, good to see you. Rod DC, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Ryan, good to see you. Bold M, good to see you. So glad to see everybody. Um, Thy Love, good to see you. Who else? AK Thompson. So good to see everybody joining in. Tonight, our conversation. What's up, Natalie? Good to see you taking action. Um, so we're going to continue talking as we've been talking about our 40 days of fulfillment, fasting, and fulfillment for some of us. Tonight, we're going to talk about seduction. Like, what? What does that have to do with fulfillment? Well, I'm going to tell you. We're going to talk about seduction and how and why it is important for us to pay attention and be aware of seduction. Seduction of what, you might be thinking? Well, specifically, we are going to be talking about the seduction of memories, because memories have this way of working us a particular kind of way. And so this morning, when I was doing some study, I was reading, doing my devotionals, ran across two different situations where the thoughts of the past came into play. And so, like, why would we talk about that as we're talking about fulfillment and purpose? Well, part of the reason is as you move forward, and we've been talking about this all along, in this process of fasting, in this process of letting go, what we're also doing is making room for something else, right? So we've identified that. We've been talking about that. We are intentionally making space. And so making space means that we're letting go. But why are we letting go? If we do not let go, the things that we allow to remain, taking up residence in our mind, being a priority, being the thing we rehearse and we think about, if we allow that stuff to stay, what happens is after a while, it starts to seduce us into thinking that what we just left wasn't that bad. Oh, it wasn't that bad. Maybe I should go back. Anybody ever been in a I think I'll just go back relationship? You ever had an experience with someone that you broke up with them, you left them, and then all of a sudden there was a little bit of distance, you got a little bit of distance and you moved away for a little bit and you got away from them because it was all heated and you were so determined that they weren't right for you. But then after a while, because you didn't separate yourself from the memories, you ended up taking the old thing back. Right? What about let's take it from a person to our behaviors, our actions, our health and wellness, right? Perhaps you're an entrepreneur and you're like, all right, this time I'm starting my business. I got this. Nothing's stopping me. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And then you start going and then it starts getting a little rough. And then you start thinking, oh, well, maybe I can just go back and I'll just go get a job. I'll go do the job thing. It wasn't that bad. But meanwhile, when you were on the job, you hated it. You were sitting there thinking about being an entrepreneur, starting your own business, doing your own thing. And so sometimes when we hold on to those memories, they can be seductive. I was reading this morning, and a whole nation of people that had been in slavery, they had been slaves for a long period of time. They were granted this and given this great promise of this place that they would have, and it would have some flow. This place would be flowing, right? There's a place for you where you step into it and you get into your flow. You're not going to just be getting by. No, this place was a place of flow. There was some flow happening in this place. And so think about that. You in your mind, you are moving towards a place where you want to get into a better flow in life. You want to get into a better state. And that promise is there for you, right? There is, you may not think it, you may not really be aware of it. It may have been a long time since you've had it, but the very best things that you think are available to you. Your greatest and highest aspirations, they are available to you. But when you start moving towards it and you realize that the thing that you have been dreaming about, the aspirations that you are looking at, they have some obstacles that come with them. Sometimes we see the obstacles like this whole nation of people did. They saw the obstacles that were before them, and then they started to speak, terrified. They started to speak with fear on their lips. They started to look at themselves in comparison to their situation and to these obstacles, and they made a determination that they were small. They said they were grasshoppers, even. They're like, we are grasshoppers to who? In our own eyes. See, there's a problem. I am small in my own eyes. And now, since I developed this image of myself where I see myself as being small in my own eyes, I'm going to portray this image, and my enemies are going to now see me small. The obstacles are going to see me as small. And now I'm in trouble. But these people went so far as to being so caught up in this fear that they started talking about that they should go back to the place where they were in slavery. Maybe we should just go back there. Maybe it wasn't all that bad. Like we knew what it was going to be. We knew the trouble that existed back there. We understand the what bondage was like. We understand the slave masters. Now think about this for your life, because it's easy to look at somebody else and say, man, they're so stupid. They could have just went over into the promised land and been flowing. But what about you? What about me? Like, are there things in our lives that we look at in our past that we had decided we were moving on from because we're looking for a new level, we're looking for a new opportunity? But as soon as things start going a little sideways, as soon as there's the presentation of a little struggle, then it's like, you know what? Nah, I think I'm just gonna go back. I think back there is better. Seduction. Seduction is setting in. Your mindset is being seduced into a different situation that is not a higher situation. You are being seduced into a lesser situation. See, the seduction is easy. It's easy to be seduced. It's easy to be tempted into doing the lesser thing. That's why the greater thing requires a press. That's why you have to press toward that mark. See the difference in the language? Like, I'm gonna go back. That's easy. You know why it's easy? Because you already been there. But what's waiting for you once you go back is not easy. What's waiting for you once you go back is not only what you used to experience, but now when you go back, you are taking with you everything that you saw on your way away. See, when you left the first time, you left out with some new eyes. You left out with some new encouragement. You left out saying, "Oh, there's something for me. I'm going to a new place. I'm going to a higher place. This relationship is going to be better. I'm going to do me. I'm going to be in a healthy, strong relationship with me. I'm not worried about this toxic relationship that I had last time. I'm done with him. I'm done with her. I'm moving on." You knew back then. You knew when the pain was enough to move, and you moved and you started out, you said, "Oh, this is feeling good. Every step I take is getting better." So every step you took away from that situation, you saw something new. And so this, at the moment you decide to turn around, what's going to happen is you take not only the freedom that you experience, but all of those experiences and images. Now you have to take them back to bondage, back to that miserable situation where you will be managing miserable again. And now you're going to have to deal with the life that you saw. Even if you didn't see all of it, you saw part of it. And so you're like, "Oh, why am I back in this again? Why did I do this?" Because you saw yourself as small. Why did I do this? Because you kept remembering. You kept remembering that moment. See, when you remember something, if we really take our time with that, what is it to remember? To remember, is a prefix meaning again. Member is something that is joined to something. So when you remember, that means you rejoin something back to you. All that time you're sitting there thinking about them and looking at driving past the places where things used to be good and this used to be our song and all that stuff. What you are doing is now you are recalling that person into your member. You are bringing them again to your body. You're embracing that again. So you are remembering that person. This is why you have to be so careful about the stuff that you allow to be in your atmosphere, because you're looking at it and you see it, and then it's like, "Oh, I remember I remember when we went out and we bought that. I remember that. I remember when we went on vacation. It's one of my favorite memories. And then you're wondering why you're so jammed up and you're like, I can't move forward. I remember the taste of that food. I need to go back to that store. Here I am. I'm grinding it out. I said I'm committed to my body, but I keep going back to the thing that caused me to live in a different place. Like I'm trying to get away from what has been holding me back. I've been trying to get away from what has been unhealthy, but I just keep remembering, bringing back to my body the same unhealthy thoughts and behaviors and actions and environments. And because it's in my body, I just got to go back. I'm addicted to it. Seduction. The situation is seducing you. That memory is seducing you. So you have to be so aware of what's going on. You don't have to listen. Your thoughts, you might be thinking, but what if the thought just comes up? That's fine. Thoughts are going to come up. But here's what happens. You do not have to hold on to every thought. Right? You do not have to remember every thought. You might be reminded of a thought. It may show up again in your mind. You don't have to bring it into your body. You don't have to embrace it. You don't have to long after it. You don't have to be sitting there and pondering it. You don't have to take hold of every thought that comes your way. And yes, you have the capacity and the ability to take hold of particular thoughts. There are some things that you can consciously say, I'm not holding on to that. I refuse to hold on to that. I am not a loser. I am not depressed. I am not these things. I am not holding on to that. I am not taking that and holding it captive in my life. No, I'm not remembering that. So really, you can take time. When you start being intentional about where you want to go, and that's what these 40 days of fasting and fulfillment, that's what they're about. Being intentional towards something. That you're going to show up every day towards that thing that you said you were going to show up for, and not keep sitting there lusting after the past. Because that's what it could be. I was sharing with you yesterday how I fasted for the first 7 days, and I did a water fast, and so if I would have been sitting just in front of the refrigerator, just looking at the refrigerator, what's inside of it. If I just go to the grocery store, just walking down the aisles just to, be around food, driving past restaurants and all that stuff. No, that's just me being seduced by images of what is for me during this fast period. It was the past. I said I'm fasting for the first 7 days with only water. So I don't need to be sitting there thinking about mealtime. It was only 7 days, but I didn't need to be sitting there thinking about what day 0 was like and what was my last meal before I started this fast. Let me just think on that. Let me just start thinking about, how good pizza is and how much I enjoy it. No, what? That's stealing time. That is stealing from you. And so here's the thing. Anything in your past can be a seductive memory. The good stuff, the positive stuff. I remember that one time 45 years ago when I could fit a size 4. All right, you might be a size 14 now. You don't got to sit there and just keep lusting after that in the past. You get to say, you know what? I'm a size 14 today. I'm not letting the fact that I was once a size 4, I'm not letting that crush me. What is in my future? What do I see ahead of me? I might go from this 14 to a 12. And guess what? That's a win for me. I might go from a 14 to a 10. Whatever it is, that's a win for me. Let me start looking at what's ahead, because 45 years ago, I was 45 years different. You don't got to keep comparing yourself to your past, even though it was so great and used to look so good. And that's fine. But that was then. You still got look good in you now. You have look good moments yet to be revealed. You're not at the end of your look good moments. That was looking good for a different time. That was back in the day looking good. You have some today looking good in you. So you just need to refocus. Like, wait, let me not be seduced by the past. Let me find out what me in this new body is going to do to look good. How am I going to bring my sexy back right now at 45? Like, I'm Oh, ain't no need to be dwelling in the past, because guess what? All the people that was checking you out in the past, they're 45 years different too. Don't don't worry about that. None of us are looking how we did 45 years ago, 25 years ago. No, we're not the same. Everybody has some signs of wear and tear and a few years on them. That's all good. But here's what you focus on: what you have. Believe me, what you have right now is the sum total of everything that you've ever experienced. And right now, oh yeah, you got everything that you need to put yourself together right. You have some mature insight. You have some, you know what? I know how to put this thing together. You have some experiences under your belt, and you say, look, back then I didn't know what I was doing. Now I have some strategy on how I can look good. I have some resources to help me look good. I can put my thing together now differently. Like, for the ladies, I'm like, mature woman looking good is different than teenage looking good. That was back in the day. That was all right. But mature woman looking good? Come on now. Come on now. That's that's the next level. Right? You got to you don't need to be hanging back in adolescent memories. Like, don't let that seduce you. You are not missing out on anything. You still, but Brian, you don't understand. I gained a little weight. So what? Embrace it. Like, embrace it and put on something that fits you right. Just stop wearing those just stop draping. Don't do that. Don't be hiding yourself. Don't do that, because you're not going to feel good in that. Back in the day, you wouldn't have draped. Don't drape today. Don't do that. Find the stuff that fits your figure, that complements you. Put it on. And you'll figure out that where you are today, oh, it looks good. Oh, it is attractive. But you got to own that. Don't be seduced by the past. Don't be seduced by how somebody's telling you back in the day, oh, babe, when I first met you, you look like this. When I first met you, you look like something too. Whatever. Stop talking to me about that. Right? Like, no, don't try to take me back to the past. Like, no. We're living in the right now, here and now. And yeah, we can all keep continuing to work on our health and wellness and finances or whatever it is, but don't try to take me back to the past like I'm gonna get there. Stop. Tell somebody. Just tell yourself. Say, hey, stop trying to take me back to the past like I'll ever end up there. Because you're not. The very best that you can do is take everything that you've ever experienced, stand in this moment, sit in this moment for a moment, be still, be quiet, stop talking so much, stop criticizing yourself so much, stop complimenting yourself so much. Just be quiet for a second. In this moment, look to your future and say, all right, what do I see springing forth in my life? What is my new spring season? What's the spring season? Spring, we think flowers, right? We think, birds and bees and, pollination, all that stuff, birds and bees, oh, great. Spring season. But for tonight, we're going to take spring season and make it different. We're going to think about spring season like a spring, okay? Like a bed spring, any kind of spring. A spring works when you have the spring and you compress it. You push it down. You add pressure to it so that the spring is now being pressed down. There's tension on it. There's pressure on it. It is now looking like it is decreasing. How many of us feel like that? I just feel like I'm not what I used to be. That's okay. Let's stay through this. You're being pressed down. There's something about you. Perhaps your attitude, perhaps your mindset has been pressing you down. It's been pressing you down. It's been pressing you down. And then all of a sudden, you one night, March 1st, hey, it's the beginning of my birthday month. Hey. Anyway, March 1st, you run across this guy who's talking to you about springs, and you start to see all those words that you've been going through, all those experiences that you had have simply been pressing you down. But this is spring season. And the way that a spring works is once you compress it, there is an amount of force that is needed to press it down. But that is not the end of the spring. That's not the end of the spring experience. Once it is pressed down, it reaches this place of tension. And when that thing gets to the moment, in the place and time where it is to be released, what happens is you move and the spring will not stay right here. No, no, no. That's not how springs work. That spring that faced all that pressure, all that tension, was under all that stuff, heard all those negative words, was constantly looking in the past, had been abused by somebody, mistreated by somebody, had been overlooked by somebody. That spring that had been pressed down, when it gets its released, it goes higher and farther than any other time. Because the reaction to all that pressure says, oh, now I need to launch. I'm not going to mess around and stay here. You did all that pressing. I was being pressed down. You were pressing me down. You were holding me down. I was depressed being around you. So guess what? Because I was so depressed being around you, guess what? Now that pressure is off, I am going from where I once was, and I am launching faster and farther than ever before. All that stuff that you experienced was not for the end of you. That was for the launching of you. So it is spring season. Hopefully you never look at it the same again. This is your spring season. And you might be like, well, how do you know it's my spring season? I know, because you're here. So clearly, why would you make it here out of all the billions of places that you could be in the world? Why would you make it here if this wasn't your season? If it wasn't a message for you, why would you even be sitting here listening to this? You might as well turn to somebody else, tell you that it's not your spring season. Like, I came all this way to let you know, whether you like it or not, God wants you to know this is your spring season. Matter of fact, I have a little something to share with you that supports this. I was looking at this morning. It says this: remember not the former things. Remember. Don't bring the former things back into your body. Remember not the former things. Neither consider the things of old. Don't bring them back to your body. I don't want you considering the old stuff. Why? Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Now, if that doesn't encourage you, listen, you might want to check what's going on the inside. If you don't feel encouraged by those words, like if you got caught up in, did he just read that from the Bible? Yes, I did. That didn't hurt you. Trust me, that did not hurt you. Trust, that didn't hurt you. That was good for you. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, look. That's what it means. Behold, I want you to look right now. Look right now. Look, start looking. I want you to start looking. Brian, what do you mean start looking? Start looking. Start looking for the new thing in your life. Start going out. Get out of your circle. Get out of your environment. You're like, but what about a relationship? Start looking. Start looking for the person. Like, anticipate. Behold, look. There's something happening. What am I looking for? Behold, there's something that shall spring forth. It's going to spring forth. And guess what? Guess how a spring works? When you move the pressure off of a spring, how does it happen? It happens suddenly. Suddenly. When you remove the pressure off of a spring, it is not a, oh boy, I'm gonna go ahead and spring up here in a second. That's not what happens. When you remove the pressure off of a spring, it is suddenly. So what are you looking for? You're like, okay, I'm clearing my mind out. Okay, I'm with this. I'm not remembering the things of old. I'm not considering the old things, right? I'm not considering that. No. Behold, I'm looking. Yes, I am looking. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a new thing. But a new thing for what? Well, what is it you've been thinking about? What is the new thing you've been thinking about? Oh, I've been thinking about getting healthy. Good. Start looking for something that is going to lead you in that path. Start waiting, anticipating that somebody is going to show up in your path. You might see an advertisement for some exercise program. You might see some new workout clothes. Whatever. You just start looking like there's going to be a new thing. But what about a new romance? Start looking. Behold, go look. Go look. Just go be in the grocery store, just walking around, looking. You never know, right? You driving down the street, you get to the stop sign, make sure you look. Look both ways. Isn't that what we heard growing up? Look both ways. Don't be all locked in, sitting at your steering wheel. Somebody looking over at you, you afraid to smile. Look over. Give a little wave. Come on now. Like this is new season time. You can't act old season ways in new season time. This is the spring forth. But if you don't want to spring, if you want to stay depressed, don't look. Don't look. But then don't cry. Don't cry and ask, like, why won't things change for me? Because you won't change. Like, why aren't things changing? Because you're the same. You keep looking at the former things. You showed up to the stop sign thinking that you were still the former person. You're looking at the old stuff. No, from now on, when you show up at the stop sign, you're a new person. You got a new message in your mind. You sat here and heard it. You cannot be the same after hearing this. So you're going to show up with a whole different level of presentation. Like, look, start putting yourself together because you're looking. So you're like, behold. Okay, I'm looking then. What am I beholding? And then you're going to see one day, you're going to be like, oh, behold, there it is. That's the one. That's the moment. That's the situation. You know what I did today, March 1st? I went out and I looked at some property. Went, met with the landlord, person that owns the land. We had some conversations. Before I went, you know what I did? I prayed, Lord, prosper my way. Let our conversations be such that my way is prospered. If you are going to be with me, if you are for me, if you are in this with me, then prosper my way. I'm like, let the negotiations be smooth. Let the pricings be right. Favor me in the pricings. Let me tell you what happened today, just to encourage you. I went and I'm having this conversation with him, and we're talking, and he's showing me the property, and we're talking, and I'm listening, and I did very little talking. And as this man is talking, he's telling me the price of things. And then while he's telling me the price of things, he would say a price, and then he would say, but we can work on that. And I was listening. I said, oh, okay. I'm looking around. Then he would say something else, and he was like, but we can make that adjustment. And every time he talked, he adjusted what he said in my favor. Got to one point where he said, we really might be able to get to a place where you can move in for free. I said, oh, really? Okay. Do you know how that conversation happens? It doesn't happen if I'm sitting at home. It's happening because I went out to behold. I went out to behold. There's something in my mind. I have something in my heart that I want to do to impact people's lives, and I need some space. Everybody's not coming to sit on the couch with me. I need some space. So since I need some space, I need to go and look. I got to behold it. Right? Like, that's how it's got to be. Like, oh, you're just talking to be talking. No, I'm not. No, I am not. No. See, when those people left slavery, they were on a mission. They were walking. They were going to a promised land. That the promise was that they would be in a place that was fruitful and it had plenty and it was flowing with milk and honey. It wasn't a place where things were tight. They weren't out looking for the tight budget place. They weren't looking for the place of lack. They were like, no. Here's a promised land. A promised land of milk and honey. It is flowing. This is when you get in your mind, you're like, no. I want to get into a promised land that has some flow going on. I don't want to be in another situation, another relationship where I just feel stuck. I don't want to continue living my life, really dying my life, being stuck. How many people feel stuck right now? You're like, I just feel stuck. Are you looking at the former things? Or are you looking at the promise? Right? Flowing and stuck are not the same things. Just close your eyes for a moment and think about it. Think about something that is flowing. And then just insert your situation into it. Like, what happens when your financial situation is flowing? What happens when your health is flowing? What happens when the love in your relationship is flowing? What happens when your conversation is flowing? What happens when your business is flowing? What happens when your confidence is flowing? What happens when you are in a flow? Now ask yourself, do you really want to be stuck? Because Even water, when it gets stagnant, starts to attract bugs and parasites and all kinds of things. Water, which is essential for life, if it's just stagnant, it becomes unhealthy and toxic and can make you sick. So, so don't you want flow? Don't. Then what are we going to think about? We're like, okay, we're going. All right. So since flow looks like this, I'm going to do this. Right? I'm looking at this, and I was looking. It said it's going to spring forth. You will know it. I will even make a way in the wilderness and a river in the desert. Rivers in the desert, not one. I'm going to make a way in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. Just take a moment, think about that. Like, wait a second. Here I am. I'm going through a dry place. This is a dry place. Life seems so dry. And then all of a sudden, there are rivers in the desert. See, in the desert, you're not supposed to have rivers. But then all of a sudden, there is provision for you because now you are looking. See, this is what happens. When you start looking for provision, then you'll be able to see provision. Why? Because the word provision, pro means in favor of. Vision means the thing that you see. So there, without a vision, there need not be any provision. I don't need to be in favor of something you don't have. So when you look, you have vision. And so since you are looking, there can be something in favor of what you are looking for. See how it just works so wonderfully. It is fantastic. Starts off, look. What are we looking for? You are looking for rivers in the desert. You are looking for a path in the wilderness. The wilderness, the jungle, the woods, it's all so deep. Everything's closed in all around me. Don't worry about everything that's all around you. There's a path for you in this jungle. There's a path. But you got to look. It's good. But if you don't take action, without a vision, people perish. Why did a whole generation not make it over into the promised land? Because instead of embracing the journey and saying, you know what, I'm going on this journey. I know I have a promise that's awaiting me. Instead of doing that and being like, you know what, we're going in. They sent some spies in. The spies went and looked at the land. They saw giants. They saw enemies, all this stuff. And most of them came back with a negative report. This is why you got to be careful who you hang around, because you hang around too many people that are going to give you negative reports. You won't go into your promise because all that negativity is going to talk you out of it. But there were two that said, you know what? We can surely do this. Let's go up immediately and take our promise. See what your language is? It matters. See, immediately, when you are in the spring season, suddenly, immediately, take action, quickly. Don't wait. Let's go. What are we debating about? I want this. You want it, right? Yeah, I want it. Go for it. Go for it. Like, you want to change your body? Yeah, I want to change it. I want to get healthy. I want to lose these pounds. Go for it. There's only one answer for you. What's the answer? You win. Go for it. There's going to be rivers for you in the desert. There's going to be a pathway for you in the wilderness. Go for it. Look for it. Because your vision sparks provision. If you're okay where you are, the worst thing you can do is start looking for something. Because if you look for something and you see something greater and you don't move on it, you are now tormenting your whole life. You're better off just dying, not seeing it. You're better off dying, not even having the imagination. Because your mind has been blessed to conceive something greater, and yet you would tell yourself, this isn't possible for me. So you're killing yourself with thoughts, killing your whole life with thoughts, killing your greatest dreams with a negative thought, with lack of action. That's scary because you might not die for a while. You might actually, this is the worst, you might actually keep living even though you've been killing yourself. Thought after thought, lack of action after lack of action. You're just slowly dying, but yet you keep breathing. Meanwhile, God Almighty every day blows breath into your lungs and is like, baby, you got another shot. Here's another day of breath. Let me inspire you. What do you mean inspire? Spire, breath, into. Let me breathe into you. If you're taking breaths right now, God has inspired you. What other inspiration do you need? He has breathed into you life. Why? Because he doesn't want you to be a waste of breath. He's like, no, I want you to do something. I have an assignment for you to fulfill. See, I believe, in my mind, I believe that we come here prepackaged with an assignment that we agreed to in the heavenlies. Like, God, you can send me down there. All right, sending you seed. Boom, there you go. You grow up. And then somewhere along the way, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, right? And so we were supposed to remember this when we were young, back when we had dreams. We had some aspirations, we had some thoughts, but then we get older, we start getting away from it, and we get old and we start believing that we can't. And then we start wasting breath because we're talking so negative. But you have an assignment. There's something for you to fulfill on this side of heaven. And you have the breath that has been breathed into you so that you can complete the assignment. There's a path in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. Stop being seduced by the memories. What's ahead of you is far greater than what has existed. It is far greater because God doesn't work in the past. He's like, behold, I do a new thing. Look. If you thought that was good back in the day, look what I'm about to do right here. It's a new thing. It will spring forth. Remember not those former things. Consider not the old things. Stop looking at the old outfit. Matter of fact, let it go. TKO. Let it go. Let it go. What'll happen if you let the old outfit go? And you say, I'm turned it. You know what? Look, by December, there'll be some new clothes out in December. Buy yourself a new outfit. Like, you know what? Yeah. It'll feel good. After I've worked on my body for so long, I've been eating healthy and being disciplined, that new outfit is going to fit me right. And it's going to look like my new season. It's not going to look like my old season. You got to make a choice. But it's not going to just happen accidentally. No. This is on purpose. This is intentional. You have to decide, am I going to be a complaining person saying, I should go back to my past? I should go back. There's a lot of clues in that. I should go back. Or I should move forward into this new season, to this new opportunity, into this new day, into this greater thought. I need to press through that. I need to press through these obstacles, these situations, these circumstances. I need to press through. Let me turn. Let me turn, make a full decision, committed decision that I'm moving in one direction. See, if you ever stood on the street, you looked one way, but you could look down to the left and look to the right, and you're like, all right, I can see both directions. Well, that's indecisive, right? You're being indecisive right there. You're like, should I? Oh, well, I could go back there. just turn. Once you behold, see that this is the key. We got showed this the other day, but now here's another example. Once you behold, you're like, all right, something new is going to spring forth. Is it if it's going to be something new, what direction does it have to be in? It has to be in a new direction. It's not going to be in the old direction because that already passed. It's not in your past. The new thing is not in your past. Behold means I need you looking towards your future. So by process of elimination, we then say, to behold the new thing, I cannot look at the old thing. I need to look at in a new direction. So then I need to shift all my focus that way. This time for your pressure to be released. It's time for something new to spring forth in your life. I pray that you receive it, that you embrace it, that you take action on it, because I'll tell you a little secret. You are now responsible for this. You can't ever in your life say, like, I didn't know. I didn't know that there were greater things. I didn't really know I could have more. You actually can't say that anymore. Fortunately, or perhaps depending on your action, unfortunately, you're now responsible for this. You're like, so what do I do? Now you get to put it to the test. Your new thing could be, I'm going to work tomorrow. I'm going to clean out my desk. I'm going to start getting organized. I'm going to clean my home. I'm going to start getting things organized. I'm preparing for new things. I'm going to go ahead, go through. Here, everybody do this. Tonight, go into your closet, go through your house, find one thing that is an old thing that you need to let go of. Place it by your door if you're not going out to the trash or whatever. Like, there's probably something that's in your house that might even be broken. Lord, oh man, Lord, that was pretty big. You know why? Because I'm looking at my mug. Look, my mug is broken. My big mug. I knocked it against something and it broke. But because of what I was about to say, I'm gonna still finish the sentence. There might be something that you have in your home that is broken, and you need to let it go. So, my big mug has to go because I'm not like, look, I've been like trying to sip around the crack. I'm not trying to put my lips on that crack. I like my lips. So I gotta let the big mug go. So you won't see it. But I gotta find a new big mug. This is 60 ounces. I gotta figure out where I got it from. Well, I got it for a birthday present, but now I gotta figure out how I can replace it. Matter of fact, I might as well replace it and get a customized one. See, look, new thoughts. New thoughts. I had a conversation with somebody about that. They were like, we should get custom exclusive mugs. Big mugs for exclusives. The exclusive big mugs. We're big mug people. I was like, I like it. But this mug had to break for me to take action on getting the exclusive big mugs. So be it. But I got to let that go. Look for something. I mean, behold it. Look for the thing in your life that you're like, you know what? That's broken. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. And say, I'm going to go ahead and let this go. I'm going to donate it. I'm going to do something with this. I'm going to let it go. Because this brokenness doesn't fit my new season. This size doesn't fit my new season. This doesn't fit where I'm going. And you make a choice and you go. So there's my daily challenge to you. There's a challenge for you inside of this challenge of 40 days. Let something go. Let it go. Make room for the new thing. All right? All right. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day and your blessings in this time together. Thank you for this occasion to be together and the blessings of the presence of each person that is here. I thank you for their life. I thank you for their story. I thank you for their journey. And I thank you for their spring season. I pray for them right now, knowing that we have all at some point or another faced some pressure. We've all faced something that has pressed us down and depressed us. But I pray for a release right now. I pray that they would be released into their new season. I pray that they would behold. I pray that they would look for their new season. I pray that they would look for the rivers in the desert. I pray that they would look for pathways in the wilderness of their life. The things that have gone on, the obstacles that are all around, where it seems so dark and dim and they seem closed in. I pray that they would look for a path. I pray that in the driest place of their life, the places that seem like they have just no life and they're just walking through the sand, I pray that they would begin to look for rivers, because rivers flow. So I pray that they would begin to look for the flow. I pray that they would get out of their comfort zone of things are what they are and step into a place of, but there is something greater for me. That they would look for, but there is a new opportunity for me. That they would step into that, look for that, and move into that, take action on that so that they can see that. I pray that they would look and have vision so that they would be able to realize provision. Lord, I just pray that they would be movers and shakers, people that have felt like, but that's not me. I pray that it would become them suddenly. I pray that the release would suddenly bring about an action taking spirit in their life, that they would just know that now is their time for them to break that cocoon of that's not me, and they could put on a new image. They could become a new person, put on a new personality, that there be some fire that just agitates them into a different mode, that they won't just be taking the back seat all the time, feeling like everybody gets to pass them by and walk over them. No, help them to find a voice. Help them to stand tall. Help them to stand and deliver. Help them to share their gifts and their talents and whatever it may be, but help them to show up like they belong there. Help them to become convinced, like a no doubt about it, this is my winning season, convinced. Let them be convicted by it. Let them have one focus: the promise, stepping into the promised land. That thing, that idea, that thought, that vision, that thing that you have placed within them, let them be compelled by the promise to take action. And as they take action, I pray that you would prosper them abundantly. I pray that you would go with them, and I pray that you would prosper them. I pray that you would surround them with goodness and mercy. I pray that favor would follow them and overtake them. I pray that the windows of heaven would be open and blessings would flow upon their life. I pray that this would be an amazing time of transformation, change. I pray that it would be suddenly season and suddenly things start happening. As they spring forth, I pray that they start seeing it suddenly. That the rehearsal of what has been, that language, let it be put to rest, put it down, bury it, never to pick it up again. Let them have one language, one conversation, that it is time to go forward. One thought, one vision, one direction, single-mindedly focus in one way. And I pray that their relationships are enriched. I pray that their date nights are wonderful, that they're treated with respect, that relationships prosper, that finances flow, that businesses grow, that books get written, that songs get, made, whatever measure of creativity that is within us and whatever aspect of life, I pray that it would flow. Families made stronger. I pray that somebody in this season of flow would find a way to sit with their loved ones and do things together and have brand new connection like never before. I pray that when someone is sitting in the stylish chair, that they would lay there and their mind would be relaxed like never before. I just see that for someone just being at the shampoo bowl with their hair being washed and it being relaxing for the first time in a real long time. So Lord, thank you. Thank you for this time and this moment. I pray blessings upon each one as we go our separate ways. I pray you encamp angels about them and bring us back at the appointed time together, whenever that may be. Thank you in advance for all that you have done and your many wonderful blessings. We count our prayers to be honored, and we count them as done as they align with your will. So, Father, we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I'm going to drink from my broken mug. Just like one more last time. But it has got to go. I can't be hanging out talking about a new season with old broken mugs. Can't do that. All right. You all have a fantastic night. I love you much. I'm B.A. Shepherd, 2 P's, A-R-D, reminding you to be a shepherd. The world has enough sheep. See ya.